realistically, what is the number that you guys, like if someone knocked on your door, like what would a person have to offer?
To what? To rent the basement?
Yeah.
Is it Willem? He can come for free.
Yeah, okay. So
Willem shows up, bro.
I'm going to be like, great, pizza.
Party.
Yeah, you know.
The big thing is choosing a director. That's the big thing. And I said, well, yeah, she understands the book. She's a director, you know. And I go, wow, this is great, and it was. So, you know, I mean, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you make that mistake, but you know.
Name names. No.
Beep, Patty.
Beep. You can never be sure that you're going to make a good film. But if you got a good producer and a good director and you have, you know, fair to middling actors, then you have a really good chance to make a good film.
And so I think it's that really rare thing where you hear about a book adaptation and you feel like, oh, I would actually just kill anybody else who tried to do this, because I've thought about this book for 20 years and I still remember how I felt about this book when I first read it. It's about what was the effect on the initial reader, and I was like, I was that initial reader. This is me. I can only perceive it as I perceived it, you know, 20 plus years ago, and that's the person I'm sort of making the film for, I think.
The genesis of the book for me, and somebody said, well, Mr. Mosely, what do you think every black man in America needs? And I said, a white man locked up in their basement. Because then you could go downstairs and figure out why you didn't get the promotion. You know, it was because there's a humorous moment, you know, to the idea of having somebody locked up in your basement. You know, that it didn't come out in the book very humorous, I agree, but the humorous beginning.
Some funny
There's
things.
a couple of
No, it's true, but it's,
Yeah, the sexual aspect of the book really grabbed me too. Like Charles's relationship with the woman, and you wake up on the couch and you hear them upstairs doing what they're doing, and then he comes down to the basement and sees Willem's character completely nude, and his is huge, and it's like, that's also, you know, like a black man seeing, like, what does that mean? Like, all of that I thought was, so that really spoke to me too.
I remember like reading this book and looking at Charles and this world and this sort of moral, psychological puzzle piece that he's sort of drifting through. And yeah, it is a strange thing to be like, sure, rent my basement, you know, and pay this absurd amount of money, but also, why not? Like, he needs it, you know, he needs the money. He also has nowhere else sort of in life to sort of go. And this is a man who is struggling with trauma. He's struggling with, like, he's wrestling with his family history. He's wrestling with all of those demons. And I don't know, it was just, I remember reading Nadia's script and envisioning it like in just a different way. Again, like just wanting to run towards the challenge of it.
I played the scene at a time. You can't plant anything. You don't know what it is until you get there. And I always feel like if you anticipate things, you start to get out of the scene. You're outside of what's going on. It has a lot to do with, you know, personal history, who they blame, where their roots are, what they identify with, what their identity is. It's very rich for that. So I don't know how you prepare for that, except for when you're really looking at the other guy and you're saying, listen, this is my story, because that's how this stuff is revealed. They don't have a particular agenda to share, it sort of happens.
Shamedly, I read the script first. Sorry, Walter. But it has this really rich black history there that's been kind of like pushed to the edges of society, and it's now at the Hamptons. Yeah, I really always appreciate when stories are exploring these individuals, these communities that are not, you know, at the forefront anymore, because there's real lives there and there's lots of history and pain there, which Charles's character represents.
I mean, this film is about so much, but especially that enclave of black history, particularly in America, the black experience being connected to the land and being connected to that history, especially for African Americans, because it's a story of survival and resilience in that way. It's a different kind of connection to the ground in which we stand on, and what Aniston represents as a threat to that.
So it's like a nihilism. Like, what if history didn't matter at all? Like, it's just the flip side of like, what would happen if you completely freed yourself from your history and said, I can be whoever I want to be. Now, obviously, if you're a black person or a white person, those are very different. Those are very different ideas. Yeah. But actually, there's this idea of like, history is something that is written by certain people. And actually, if you write your own history, what kind of power does that give you?